I told you to tell me when she reappeared. It's not like she warns me. Oleander pointed to the device. What is that? You're being impertinent. Hexakiris pulled out the pain baton and gestured meaningfully with it. Shall I punish you? Oleander bowed his head. If it pleases you. Hexakiris stared at him for a moment before returning both devices to his robes. Not at the moment, frankly. I suspect you're starting to enjoy your little disciplinary sessions a bit too much. It's taking all the fun out of it. I shall have to devise some new means for chastising you. Oleander said nothing. Hexakiris sniffed. I can smell it on the air still. It's growing bold. What does it want? I told you to taunt me. Yes, but why come back to do so more than once? What game is it playing? Hexakiris leaned forward, caught Oleander's chin, forcing him to look up. Tell me that, and perhaps I'll spare the next name on your list. Laughter greeted this comment. Hexakiris shoved Oleander back and turned. Who dares? These are my private quarters. The laughter redoubled itself, echoing eerily through the chamber. Quaversal and cacophonous, it grated against Oleander's enhanced senses, threatening to deafen him. Racks collapsed, clawing at their skulls and moaning. Hexakiris clapped his hands to the side of his head and whirled in place, searching for the intruder. Then, all at once, the sound ceased. It was replaced with the soft jangling bells, the shuffle of footsteps. A colorful figure slid out of nowhere, moving from one place to the next in the blink of an eye. The figure's movements were at once erratic and precise, almost ritualistic, but without obvious purpose. Veil Walker, Oleander said. Hexakiras glanced at him. Slandry Veil Walker bowed effusively. Me, we, us. She bobbed to her feet and spun her staff across her shoulders, catching it with her other hand. How she'd got into the laboratorium without them noticing, Oleander couldn't say, nor did she seem unduly concerned by the large number of racks now aiming weapons at her. And she, Veilwalker added, looking around as if in search of someone. Are you in it together, then? Oleander asked. Hexakiras shot him a warning glare. Quiet, Oleander. Say nothing to this creature. Creature, is it? Oh, Lord of Knives? How rude! Veilwalker began. And after all I've done to aid you, Hexakiras Ulthiliad? Hexakiras stiffened. Veilwalker laughed. Yes, I knew your name, who you were, before the fall of the Empire and the long retreat to Camorra. Just northeast then, a scribbler of pedestrian portraiture, not even well known, and look at you now. Hexakiras drew himself up. Yes, look at me. Whatever I was, I am now master of the 13 scars, and you are nothing to me, little clown. He pointed a clawed finger at her. You helped me, true, but for reasons of your own. Why are you here now? First, the story, Veilwalker began. She pirouetted about the homunculus, forcing him to turn to keep her in sight. She moved faster and faster until she seemed little more than a blur of color. Finally, she slid to a halt behind Oleander and pressed the length of her staff against his throat, pinning him against her. She was stronger than she looked. Count Sunflame languishes in durance vile. His only hope, the daughter of his jailer, whom he woos with desperate passion. Oleander drove an elbow into Veilwalker's midsection, or tried to. She was gone before the blow could land, circling him lightly but always keeping her mask tilted towards Hexakiras. I am in no mood for stories, clown, the homunculus said. Why are you here? To talk, nothing more. Hexakiras glided close. So You resist the flow of the preordained narrative, she said pointedly. Return to Gomorrah, gather your forces. This pitiable collection of characters will not be enough to do what must be done, but we can help you with you letters. What sort of help? Hexakiris leaned close. And how much will it cost me? Let us say that our interests coincide, she said, as they have coincided with those of many others in many stories, both well told and yet to be written. She shrugged. Such is the nature of grand comedy. Farce is a whirlpool of coincidence, ever widening, ever deepening, and all the characters drowning in the same dark waters. Hexakiris was silent for a moment. Then, softly, he began to laugh. I see now, he murmured. I see it clearly. Still laughing, he pointed a cold finger at the Harlequin. You used me. You sent him to me. He admitted that much early on. Never the name, of course, but it's too great a coincidence. You're welcome, Veilwalker said. Hexakiris turned. Why? As we said, our interests coincide. You push, we pull. Eventually, the point of the story will spring loose of the claggy soil. And what if I have no interest in being a mechanism in your little story? Then you will be cut from it, and a new character introduced. Plot is a tyrant, and needs must when the story drives. Veilwalker spun her staff from hand to hand, and there was something bluntly threatening about the motion, a sort of graceless power. Oleander thought Hexakiris saw it as well, for he retreated slightly. And if I do as you say, you're a part of the story, and well, Veilwalker said, and her voice seemed different, deeper, more savage. Not the voice of a clown, but of something older and more vicious by far. But cross us, and it will not end at all. Hexakiris' mask twitched as if startled. If you can't help me, then I would be a fool not to accept. Very well, I will do as you request. He loomed over know this. If you play me false, I'll turn your farce into a tragedy. Agreed? Walker turned away, but paused. One thing more. She looked up at him. The demon is dangerous. Hexakiris snorted. I'm aware. Walker laughed. No, not for the reasons you think. She stepped back. All those and more. She's cunning, this one, and careful. But this is our story. She looked at Oleander. He felt a chill run through him as he considered his reflection in the mirrored mask. And only with